That was a great.
Dude, I was good at that.
That was probably one of the best, one of the best in-person sporting events I've ever been to.
Damn, you need to go to more events.
I was gonna say the same
It,
thing.
the level of hilarity of the whole situation was like we're just like a bunch of, for the lack of a better word, it's like a ragtag group coming from Palmer, and we show up at Life West, and it's just this compound. It's like the most. It's like something out of like a Rocky movie where it's like Rocky's training out in the woods, hiking up hills, holding logs and shit. And these guys have this sick court of their own, and then the rest is history.
Wait, did we lose? I don't even remember if we won.
Yeah, you guys lost. It almost came to blows at the end. I remember that there were like fouls at the end. It got pretty bad.
Yeah, I remember one of the guys playing like aggressive D with me, and I fucking stole the ball. I remember getting the steal.
Oh.
I remember Kale being so mad, and I think part of it was
actually, I do remember we lost. Kale cried.
Yeah, Kale was so mad because I think also part of it is someone called him a shrimp.
Wait, Demir, were you with me when we played in that inner city league in San Jose?
Yeah, I wasn't there at that championship game.
No, I'm talking about the league. Like it was me, Brian, Kale, fucking Jordan Thanem, Ranveer, and then like I think it was you.
Was there another guy named Sam who played as well?
No, we had that big dude.
Mm-hmm.
Remember the guy who played football for Alabama?
Too bad Brandon Booth wasn't playing around that time. He would have been friggin' the Dennis Rodman.
Dude, we had a guy like that. He was like a 12th quarter. He was enormous. Do you remember him?
Just rebounding like
I don't remember his name, but he was good. He was really
that guy was legit.
Well, I mean, he was 300 plus pounds and 6'6", and he played football in Division I. I'm so stoked to get this fucking Shockwave in.
That's it's something I've been thinking about so much more now that you guys have been talking about it. Is bringing in some other modalities like, and then there's actually something came up with Alex and I were talking about this. It's like there's such a difference between like wanting something and building something. Sometimes people just sit around and they're like, oh, I want money. I want a good business. Okay. Well, do you want to build a good business? Like, I think if you preface it that way and you're like, oh, I want to really build a good business, all of those things that come with it will kind of be accompanied with that, as opposed to just thinking about the end goal. So I don't know. I'm kind of starting to rethink some of the ways I look at practicing, because it's like I don't necessarily just want to focus 100% on patient care. Like I don't want that to change. I still want to be able to give good care, but I also want to start building more of the aspects around the business and kind of like create I don't know, like more of like a ecosystem around it, not just coming in, getting treatment and leaving.
Yeah, I know exactly. So, that's what one of my patients was talking to me about, that just like having what does it look like instead of it being where people are coming in, having treatment, getting, and then just leaving, like how do you create a place where a business of people that they want to go to, like they want to be there. Kind of like the gym, for instance. You go to the gym and you hang out there for probably 30 minutes, 45 minutes before you even start lifting weights, because you're dicking around, hanging out with your friends, catching up, and then eventually you guys start lifting, having a good time. It ends, and then you're still there for another 20 to 30 minutes. You've been at the gym for 2.5 hours.
I mean, the tricky thing too is like you want it to feel like a full encompassing experience, but you also don't want to have to rely on, I don't know, for me, I'm trying to think like, how can I rely less on my space and how can I get more value up for people? Just like for once they come in and see me for treatment, how can I just continuously create value for them outside of the office?
Yeah, like your squat clinics and the kettlebell clinics and
yeah, exactly. And also just and giving people opportunities to like see what I have to teach outside of the office.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to like figure out what that looks like, and doing it in a way where I'm not just like feeling like I'm just burning the candle at both ends, because I also want more free time. I want to be able to like have the business in a way kind of start to like be a little more self-sustaining. It's not just relying on me putting in like endless hours of work on it.
Yeah, I think that like workshops, like little workshops like that, are so valuable because Demir said something that kind of hit home for me. It was like if you had the time with some people, you know, and like the distance of time where they're buying in, they're feeling a lot better, they're progressing in their treatment, you're teaching them a lot of things. I mean, we all have a serious amount to offer for someone to just be like operating at such a high level for their body. You understand what I mean by
Mhm.
that? Like
Yeah.
how much knowledge you have inside your head to like make someone go do like awesome cool shit that they want to go do.
It's so tricky, like taking complicated concepts and big ideas and boiling it down. Like that's really what we do, right? We go to school for, 3, almost 4 years, and then we learn all this stuff, and then it's like our job to now like what's the best way of passing it on. um, and I can totally understand more and more now the longer I've been practicing why some people just like take the easy route and they're like, yeah, your hips are out of place because it's easy, right?
Yep.
But to actually go through the trouble and be passionate about like educating people along the way and saying, oh, I'm going to take this really complicated concept, yeah, your rib totally feels like it's out of place. It's like the likelihood is that we've got a relationship between structure and function, and perhaps we've strained a muscle in there and there's some pressure within the joint that makes it feel like it's not quite sitting there, and this is what we're going to do about it. And like that extra 30 seconds of talking or 30 seconds of small like educational bits takes up bandwidth over time. And I think it's interesting. We're it's not a long weekend over there, is it? You guys don't have a holiday on Monday?
No, this is
I just
America.
realized it. Yeah, I know. I was going to say Canada's the home of the extra long weekends here, but we
It's
have
like Boxing
Victoria
Day.
Day.
Oh, Victoria Day, one of my favorite days.
Victoria Day. Yep, it's very fitting too. But we get Monday off, and when I went and taught that course, I was at the gym that I work out of. They asked me to just kind of last minute teach this squat workshop, and we had like 7 or 8 people registered. And I think what happens is people realize, oh, it's a long weekend, they forget, and then they either no show or they cancel last minute. So I literally went from having what I thought was going to be about 8 people in my course to having 2 people in my course.
Oh wow.
And it's funny because like, you know, it's very much like, I think you can have two trains of thought when that happens. One is you can be down and be like, oh, there's only 2 people here, like, and that was my initial thought. And I actually remember hearing this a while ago from another presenter, and I think this is kind of like the concept that we keep, and we do this unintentionally when we're doing our courses too, because we don't have 100 people showing up for our workshops, and we have relatively smaller numbers as we get started. But the way I look at it is like, I'm going to make it so fucking valuable for these 2 people that took this long weekend, were dedicated enough to show up here. These people are going to leave with so much, confidence that they made the right decision to show up here. And I'm basically going to teach the shit out of these 2 people and give them the most value that they can. And like, I think that there's nothing that could be more true than the way that we do our HVLA courses too. It's like, if we have a dozen people show up, fuck those 11 people, those 12, those 10 people, whatever we have, they're going to have the best experience, and it's almost more motivating to have those smaller numbers at first. And yeah, so anyway, I just a little aside there, but that was just something that came to mind when we were talking, when you brought up that course.
Well, I mean, there's definitely something to it. It's like similar to the mobility clinics that I would teach when I lived in California. I remember at first everybody, it was like I had a huge class. I was like really blown away. And then I went to other places and they would talk it up. It was like, no, trust me, trust me. And then I would go, there might be like 5 people. And the next time I'd go back, there'd be like 15 to 20. But I had the
Mm-hmm.
same mentality. It was like, it doesn't matter if it's one, it doesn't matter if it's 30. I'm going to teach these people as much as I possibly can in this amount of time that I've allotted, and I'm going to progress them at that time it was a lot with CrossFit. So I was like, I'm going to I'm going to really help these people as much as I can. And then we do, and proof is in the pudding. They end up coming back over and over again. And it's like similar with this situation with the hula courses. It's like, it's so hard to tell someone like, you're going to get so much out of this. Like, trust us. You know what I mean? They kind of have to believe in us and these people that they've never met, people they don't know. And we're not really like, quote unquote, internet stars by any means. So it's like, and we don't have fedora hats and tattoos all along our bodies, unless your name is
Just
Christopher.
Not yet.
Just too busy treating people to put
Exactly.
that Instagram time in.
Exactly. And so, I feel like when people do come, they leave with so much that they're so motivated and excited. It's like I think about the kids over, or I shouldn't call them kids. They're just like 5 years, 8 years younger than us. I think about the people over at Palmer Davenport. They were so excited literally the first day that they told me and Tamir, like, we need to start a club. Like, this has to happen. And then when the advisor reaches out to us and tells us like, oh, the students are really excited. There's a lot of feedback going on about this club that's going to start. I want to make sure that I up my game and I'm ready to help these guys as much as I can too. What do I need to know? Like that kind of stuff really gets me going. Like I'm pumped about that. I think it's the coolest thing because it's just only going to help them get that much better at this game called chiropractic and being a great clinician and being ready to help people feel better and make it less about themselves and make it more about a person.
It's just that momentum. Once it builds up, it gets going. How about you, Demir? I know that for a while you had a pretty successful online Kinstretch course that you're doing for a bit. I know that we talked before about it being a little slow at the beginning, but then it like really picked up some momentum too.
Yeah, it was interesting what you said because I've definitely had that happen too. And I teach it once a month, mobility class at this other gym that I'm going to be opening up my second office in 3 weeks. But your style of teaching changes as the instructor. The way that I would like the analogy that I would give it is like comedians talk about all the time, like doing different rooms. Like, oh, I like this room. It's a bigger room. It's a smaller room. Oh, this room's huge. Oh, this theater is big as hell. Oh my God, this arena. And like the way that you deliver the comedy changes based on like the kind of room that you're in. Like in an arena, you don't have the same kind of timing as you do in like a smaller room, is what they say. And it's like the same kind of deal. Like, I had my mobility class, my one last month. I had like, 16 people there. So it's like a lot of people. You're managing a lot. There's a lot of energy in the room. There's people like distracting each other, so there's like different levels of things that you're kind of focusing on as an instructor versus like if there's only like 4 people in the class or like five or two or whatever, where you don't have to really worry about like handling the room or controlling it in that way. And like the level of, instructing is so much deeper. So like you're going back to the same person and correcting them in the same move multiple times. So like it's just like a different level of teaching. And I think that's cool because like obviously we like teaching in one way or another because we do it in our like jobs and we do it for, in other extracurriculars and stuff. And so like to get better at it or like to think about teaching while you're doing the thing, I think is always kind of cool. And so that's what I kind of think about when the situation changes. It's not like the standard mill, 8 people in the class or 12 people in the class where it's a lot more, a lot less. It completely changes the way that you like deliver the thing. So that's what I always kind of thought was super interesting. Yeah.
I like that. It's like you're not going to be doing audience work if you're at a stadium.
Totally.
You're not going to be like, and it's funny because like hecklers are very different because they're drowned out when you've got such a big group versus if
Yeah.
it's just a small room, you've got one person who's like, what the fuck, dude?
Right.
They're right there. And but that's a fantastic analogy. I like that a lot.
Yeah, so I think like today I taught my a Kinstritch class or whatever this morning, and there were 8 people in the class, which is like half as much as there were last month. And it was cool because like we went 3 levels deeper than we did last month. Last month it was just like a lot more basic stuff, a little bit harder positions just to kind of give them a little bit more. Today was like so much more technical, and everybody was like, wow, this is like each of those people, I guarantee you, are like super interested and become like regulars at either practicing with me or by themselves because of like the depth of the work that we did today. And like sometimes you don't get that in like a bigger class where it's like, a little bit shallower, but like longer play in the level of detail versus like less people, like you get to go more detailed. And I think like people are more interested in the deeper layers of especially something cool like movement. Like one of this girl, actually she knew my brother. It was really cool. She's like, oh, I went to high school with your brother. And it was her first time coming to one of these classes, and she was like, is this supposed to like her feel here? I was like, yeah, we're doing hip flexion. Like it was a lot of fun for her to be like, fuck, like I'm feeling things that I don't feel normally. So it was always cool to play with people for the first time.
Yeah, it's kind of
It's funny.
similar.
It's
Go ahead, Dan.
oh, go ahead. I was just gonna say it's such a novel idea that people get, and it really like you can see a light bulb go off in their mind when they're like, oh, I actually have to work really fucking hard in order to like improve range. Like it's not just like a hold a stretch thing. It's like, oh, that makes sense. It's like takes a lot of effort to like build up a muscle group but it's like for some reason stretching and mobility should just like come easy just by like laying on a foam roller. So it's like when people get that and it clicks, they're like, oh, I see. It's got to be fucking hard. Then it makes you can see them their buy-in all of a sudden just like goes through the roof too.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, I was going to tie that back into with at the seminars when we teach. Like we allot that specific time for going over like the assessment, the practitioner's eyes and their feel, et cetera, and so forth. But really, you start to go a lot deeper, especially with this upcoming one. We're going to have Chris with us as well. We'll be able to go into some depth when we do the breakouts, when we go more one-on-one with people. And usually that style of, let's say, information that's being spewed out, it seems to be more tailored to the person that's in need of that thing right there. Like we can teach, a palpation drill or an adjustment a million different ways for the same thing to many different people, that the way that they're processing how you're teaching that. So I think that that's where a lot of value comes into play. It's really hard to say that on paper for people that are interested in coming to the seminar. You know what I mean? But I think that the feedback from other people that have been before, you start to see like it motivates someone else to be like, oh wow, okay, it is more than just this. Like we have a couple flashy videos that look pretty cool. I think Steve did an awesome job, and we'll have him do some more for us when we go back out there. But I think it's really hard, at least for me, to explain that to somebody, at least in a video and a prompt to say, hey, come to our seminar.
It's funny, the more we do these seminars, the more I actually am like, it's easier for me to be like, come take our fucking seminar. I feel like part of it is like there's a confidence where it's like we leave doing one of these courses and I'm just like, holy shit, these kids are again not kids, but holy shit, these people are going to get so much out of this. And if they take it and run with it and keep practicing, like I can only imagine what the Davenport kids, now that they're doing the club and that they've got that advisor helping them out. And after you guys were out there, like it's such a win for the profession as well. It's like, I think the main reason we do this is like, yeah, we could, we're not teaching courses to make a ton of money. Like we make more in our like I significantly make more in my practice working an extra day or a weekend, but I do it because I give a shit and I want the profession to evolve and continuously get better. And the only way you do that is you learn from people who've been doing it for a while, and you learn from everybody. Like everybody has something to teach, and it could be a cue, it could be a method, it could be a philosophy, it could be something that just hits and lands perfectly at that one moment where you are. So like be open, be receptive, and like I have no problem now telling people like you would get a shit ton out of coming to watch me and my friends teach.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited for Chris to come too. Like, it's gonna be
It's
so
only
fun.
gonna be that much
And
fun.
like to have like, I don't know, I felt like it was just the same. It was this like, I think individually, not unlike Transformers, or no, what is it? Power Rangers, where everyone can have their own unique strengths and everything. It's like there's something cool about when all of us come together and we're teaching a group, and the energy that we get, and we feed off of each other, not unlike Demir's analogy of comedians. It's like when you have a room and things just start rolling like that, it brings out the best in each other. And that's just basically the extension of what we're trying to teach too, is just like this idea that you're going to need to challenge each other. You're going to need to keep that momentum going after the seminar is done. And yeah, we're so looking forward to this next one. It's going to be amazing.
No, I'm super juiced. I'm super pumped for it. I like that we're gonna have good space for it too.
Oh, that gym is amazing, dude. I actually went there, and I think where was I? I think it was there for my wife's graduation, and I stopped and did a workout at Steve's spot, and he's like, the guy's like so welcoming, super nice, and gym's great, lots of kettlebells, which is a good thing for me. And then you know, like the fact that he came and did that video work with us too is just like the icing on the cake. He's a great dude.
Yeah, yeah, I'm pretty stoked for him to be able to kind of see how we adapted too over since we went last time. Like one thing that's going to be good for the people that are going to be returning for the same seminar. I feel like they're going to get a ton out of seeing Chris there. They're going to hear maybe some different takes on what we've already taught before, and maybe get something new out of it that they might have missed prior, because they were so focused on one thing. They're like, oh, well, I realized I started doing this over the past 6 months, and I need to tune this up a little bit better so I can elevate my game. So I'm going to really hone in. Oh, that's the thing that I needed. So they'll be able to do that. Hi, my Jess.
Hi.
You want to say hi to Dan and Demir?
Are you guys doing the podcast?
Yeah, but you can say hi. I'll edit it out.
Jessica, no, don't edit it out. Keep it in. This is the hi, Jess. How are you doing?
Hi, guys.
Hey,
How's little baby?
She's sleeping. Oh, this one?
Yeah.
that's the one inside.
Whoa, look at that.
Can you believe
And
it? It's crazy.
we're sure that
sure.
we're sure that it's Joe's.
Yeah. I don't know. It might be.
Yeah, look at that, dude.
Dude, Martine's wearing her shirt tonight too.
Prove it.
Jesus, sweet.
I'm in bed. Poor Demir with your guys' time. That sucks.
Guys, the worst.
It's the
You know what?
All right,
He's a champ.
up
Though.
all night sending me memes, anyways.
Okay, good to see you, Jess.
Good to see you guys.
Okay, the thing about having different perspective, like having a kind of like a rehashing of the same stuff. To me, it's like, I don't know. I don't know if you guys feel the same way. There are books that I will read multiple times, and I enjoy them differently. And I think a lot of it is just where you're at, like where you're coming from. And so having the opportunity to go back is just like when we would do the McClure seminars. Like all that stuff was very similar. It was
How much-
maybe
Our seminar now.
yeah.
One more time, Demir. You cut out.
Oh, sorry to interrupt you, Dan, but I was just going to say, like, how much could you take away from a McClure seminar now? Probably a lot.
I think more, if anything. Like
Right.
we're just little pipsqueaks when we started, and we were just getting our minds blown. But now I feel like if McClure popped into Victoria and put a course on here, I would definitely sign up and go to it. I think it's like you like I said, you can learn from everybody, and I think you also have to be very careful who you learn from. I think that nowadays it's more difficult to discern like good information and just infotainment information, right? There's so many people out there that are putting out content and things like that, where they're basically like trying to lure people in to this other package or program or something that then just gets this mystified kind of stuff. For us, it's like absolutely it's no bullshit. It's like we're just giving you killer stuff, no filler. Let's like just be straight up about that and just get people to realize like we're also actively learning ourselves. So yeah, do we think we have all the answers? No, but we have a lot of really good stuff to start with, We got things that are going to get you thinking and things that are going to get you better. So take our shit.
The plug.
I think those students, especially the ones that have taken it already, are going to get so much more the second time. They're not going to, you're not overwhelmed. You know what you're kind of expecting from the course from both days. You're going to come in more prepared. You're going to come in already working on both your favorite move and the move that you suck at most, trying to see like, A, you want to show off your favorite move to us, and then B, you want to, get better at the move that you suck at. And so that's that like second time around enthusiasm that is going to foster a ton of learning. Sometimes people get overwhelmed, on courses in the first day. I know I've felt that way in my in my career, going through different seminars, where the first day I'm just kind of like, God, man, I've just been kind of like, wow, that instructor's smart as hell. And then it's been 3 hours. And I'm like, what is he talking about? I spent half the morning like, wow, this is so cool to be here. And then, you missed out on a ton of stuff. And then you go back and you take it again. You're like, man, was I not paying attention?
Well, that's the thing about like those really big seminars. I feel the same way that you just described. Like a Parker seminar or anything like that. Those really big ones where they're like, we got this killer guy over here. He's gonna give you this awesome seminar on this and this topic, and you show up and there's like 500 people in the room, and I'm just looking around like, I wonder who's paying attention. And clearly not me.
It's a lot of people getting their continuing ed, a lot of people on their phones.
Yeah, and then just going and playing with all the gadgets and gizmos and the area where you can go play with that stuff, and then a bunch of dorks adjusting each other, saying, "Well, this is the way I do it."
Dude, that's one thing that never fails to amaze me is like you get a bunch of chiropractors together for a seminar. There's people like adjusting each other on the floor. There's a person who's like, "Oh, I think I got," like all you have to do is walk through one of the expo halls there and be like, I've got a headache. Bro, what?
My back hurts.
Wouldn't it be just super funny if you just, oh, I've got a headache, and someone's like, oh, great, I've got some Tylenol for you. Oh, good. Security literally just tackles you out at the legs.
Yeah.
Thrown in jail.
They would.
What about drinking any water? You are in Las Vegas, sir, and you've been drinking a lot of alcohol. Still have that tiny yardstick in your hand.
Just had 16 pina coladas. You might want to take some water in.
Amazing. All right, boys. I think this is a good place to cut it. Let's keep this one nice and short and sweet.
Yeah, short and sweet is good.
So I'll plug the old seminar happening July 22nd, 23rd. There's a discount available to save $100. Use code early100. Follow us on the Instagrams at HVLA. Is it an underscore? I can't remember, Demir. Do you know? Yeah, HVLA_education. Yeah. Let us know your thoughts. If you have questions, reach out. Yeah, sign up, show up.
Should we do an Instagram live one time?
Yeah, why not?
Should we put that up on the Instagram and see if we'll just do a poll and see if anybody's interested in doing that? Because the nice thing is if there are like actual questions that are coming at us live, that could be pretty fun. Get Chris, you, me, Demir into that, and we just do it all live.
Yeah, let's do it. I'll put a poll up. Yeah, I'll put a poll up, and then the thing is, you gotta we'll figure out a real time that could work for all of us, so that we can all 100% be there for that.
Yeah, maybe do something like that once a month or something. We can do like a live.
Yeah, perfect.
Cool.
All right, sweet.
All right, it was nice to chat with you, fellas. Excited to see you again in just it's not too long. It's like 6 weeks. Oh no, wait, 2 months.
Yeah, 2 months.
2 months.
Yeah. Well, that's too long. We should do let's do another course in Victoria in 2 weekends from now.
Yeah. Hey, we might go to Victoria in September, Dan.
That would be amazing. If you guys do, let me know. We'll September would be a perfect time too.
Awesome.
Like fall in Victoria is so nice.
Yeah, we're thinking I think from like the 5th through the 15th.
Yes. If you guys want to come, you stay with us the whole time.
Sweet.
Bring the family. Bring Mish with you too.
Yeah, everybody's coming.
Cool. Okay. Well, great to talk with you guys.
All right, boys. Be well. Seize the week.
Okay. In health.